Next up, we have Kingfisher Metals. Dustin and his team have been very busy creating one of the largest claim holdings now in the Golden Triangle. The largest?
Largest contiguous project held by a junior.
Yeah, that's a clicker. 4 slides.
All right. Thanks, everybody. My name is Dustin Perry. I am the CEO and founder of Kingfisher Metals. So we are a very aggressive and active early-stage explorer in British Columbia. We listed in 2021, focused on a different asset where we made, we broke the 100 gram meter kind of magical discovery number, but the market didn't like it. So we pivoted to where our skill set and experience lies, which is the Golden Triangle. And we saw an opportunity to put a big land position together. I'm going to make forward-looking statements. Okay, so we're sitting at 849 square kilometers with a contiguous project right now. So that's the largest contiguous project of any junior in the Golden Triangle. And being contiguous really matters in British Columbia because it makes things much easier for maintaining tenures. So with the expiration we're proposing this summer, our claims will be good into the 2030s. So to do this, we've built an exceptional technical team. We've got key people from GT Gold, which was the last big success in the region. People who, one of our geologists did her master's degree on KSM and was involved with the Bruce Jack discovery. Recently took the entire Northwest Copper exploration team. Another geologist on the team taught the porphyry short course at the PDAC this year. So we are experts in porphyry exploration and in the Golden Triangle. In consolidating over the last 2 years, we've had a lot of time to think about what we're going to do before we came out and did a big drill program. So our targets are very refined, and this year we will be drilling in about a month. Currently raising money, that's going very well, and I'm going to get into it. But I'm not actually going to talk just about Kingfisher here. I'm going to give you a bit of a primer on where to look for a porphyry in BC. So here's a few examples. Red Chris is the newest porphyry mine in BC, currently being operated by Newmont. They're building a block cave there. KSM is owned by Seabridge Gold, and that's the world's largest undeveloped gold deposit and number 3rd undeveloped copper deposit. And here's Highway 37, which I would argue is the most exciting porphyry drill play this year in the Golden Triangle. So a little bit of backstory on porphyries. They occur around the world. They are the largest source of copper globally. And as I said, the largest undeveloped gold deposit is also a porphyry. They occur around the Ring of Fire. So you get them from Alaska all the way down to the Andes. Filo would be down there in the middle of the Andes. They're through the Southeast Asian islands all the way up through Russia. You also have a belt stretching from Serbia through to Pakistan, where Barrick's building Reko Diq. So they're around the world, but they're not everywhere. Now I'm going to show you where to look in BC. So there's this really young belt of porphyries in BC. This is not where you want to look. Get a little older, and you've got probably one of the largest areas. So all the data in here, I've done detailed presentations on LinkedIn and Twitter about this. It all comes from the U.S. Geological Survey, and these green outlines are prospectivity tracks. So in this region, you've got a couple more exciting and active camps right now with Tatsa. So Surge Copper and Vizsla Copper are exploring there. In the Babine, you've got American Eagle. Prosperity is actually the largest of these. It's, I think, over 10 million ounces, and that's held by Taseko. Get a little bit older, and you got to go to Vancouver Island or the Queen Charlotte Islands. Queen Charlotte Islands, off limits. Vancouver Island. The north end is where we want to be because there's a previous mine with Island Copper that was run by BHP, and North Isle Copper is up to the north end. Now you get into the sweet spot. These are the copper gold systems in BC. So at the south end, you've got the Kamloops Princeton belt that has Hudbay's Copper Mountain. I think Kodiak is coming up soon, and they've got a project down at that end. New Gold would be at the north end of that belt. And then in the Quesnel belt, you've got Vizsla exploring Woodjam. And you've got Imperial Metals Mount Poly in the Ominika. You've got the Mount Milligan mine in the Toodoggone. You've got the Kemess deposit, and then Amark and Freeport and several others exploring in that area. And then out to the west, you've got the Golden Triangle. So the oldest belt occurs in the Golden Triangle and in the Quesnel belt and in the Kamloops Princeton belt as well. The difference with these is they're more shifted towards copper and moly. So a lot less gold in these. The exception would be Shaft Creek in the Golden Triangle, which has about 8 million ounces. there's something special happening in the Golden Triangle that isn't fully understood, but everything seems to have a lot of gold there. So now I'm going to break it down into two main geological terrains that you can look at in BC. There's a Quesnel terrain. So this was pretty popular, I don't know, at the beginning of my career, almost 20 years ago. The government put a lot of funding into looking under glacial till, and some discoveries came out of that. Quenica, that Northwest Copper has, was one of the first projects I worked on. And then you can look at the Stikine terrain. So Babine and Tatsa, the younger groups I referred to, they're not the age of Stikine, but they come into the Stikine. And the real rocks that are, occurred back at that period in the Earth's history are from the Tutagon and the Golden Triangle. So now here's a summary showing BC and showing some of the projects I referred to, the active juniors, some of them are here. And it really highlights how much metal comes out of the Golden Triangle. You can see the bars on the left. In that recent news release from Filo, their Vicuña district, I took the numbers there and compared them to the Sulphurets district, which is just one of the regions within the Golden Triangle. And there's actually 66% more gold at the Sulphurets district. So now we're going to zoom in to Kingfisher and our Highway 37 project, and you can see where we are in the Golden Triangle here. So what I've put on here are the developers and the producers in the region. Developers listed would be Ascot and Skeena and Seabridge Gold, and then the main majors in the area are Freeport's optioning one project, Newmont has two mines at Red Chris and Brucejack, and Teck has the Shaft Creek project that they're moving towards PEA right now, and Galore Creek at number 1 is a joint venture between Teck and Newmont and is probably the second largest porphyry in BC. Red Chris up there at number 2 is probably the sexiest porphyry though, with exceptional grades. Alan was just talking about Filo. Red Chris has a drill hole from 2006 or 7 that is still better than any hole from Filo. It was 1 kilometer of 1% copper and 1.25 grams gold. So that's the kind of thing we're targeting here, and we're going to get into some of the targets here. But first, this is why we're looking in this region. So this is pretty technical. I'm a geologist, but I'm going to dumb it down here. If you look at any porphyry belt in the world, you'll see it's a collection of structures, and basically you want to be at the intersection of these structures. Vicuña, for example, was a missing structure. You had a district on the structure north of it and a district on the to the south of it. So El Indio south, Maricunga to the north, and Vicuña was actually called the Link Belt prior to that. In the Golden Triangle, you've got all these well-known districts here that are full of metal, and where we are is in a sweet spot. And that little graphic on the bottom left, I don't know how easy it is to see here, but it's just a heat map, simplified, showing drilling in the Golden Triangle. And where we sit is on the favorable structure, but with way less drilling. So to us, that's the opportunity here. We're in the right part of the world. We have the right rocks, and we have a team that has all the experience in the area. But there's less drilling, so there's opportunity. So just to jump back to the figures I showed you before, last year I did a tweet that it gained a lot of traction. I went and digitized by hand every single 43-101 resource of a porphyry in BC. They didn't really appear on the previous map because they're actually quite small. But this is what they all look like at scale. And you can see the extent of some of them. You can see Galore Creek's a huge blob. But the key here is to look at a gold soil anomaly we have at Highway 37 that is a comparable size to the Sulphurets district. So now this is taking a step back and looking at copper, but across the whole project. So this is about 15,000 soil samples. The ground we have, we didn't stake it. It was a combination of 5 deals because, it's not easy you can't really stake much ground in the Golden Triangle. People have been exploring there since the 60s or before. Where we're focused this year, though, is in that 2025 drill area. And the key thing that stood out to us is, as a geologist, it's just like, Einstein's definition of insanity. If you're doing the same thing over and over again and, expecting different results, you're insane. Same thing with geology. If you're doing the same thing over and over again, if you're just twinning holes or re-drilling something without a new concept, you're probably not going to find anything. So in this area here, you can see Williams, where there's a little copper blip, but the rest of the area is actually below background in copper. But now there's a huge gold anomaly, and this gold anomaly is quite a bit larger, probably 3 to 4 times the extent of the gold anomaly that GT Gold went and made their discovery off of. And now you will see zoomed in what this gold anomaly looks like. So in the 1980s, a company called Lac Minerals, which became part of Barrick, did a lot of shallow drilling focused on high-grade near-surface epithermal gold. Another company came in 2017-18 and continued up on that, built upon it. They drilled up to 27 meters of almost 9 grams, so really good high-grade gold results. But they never found an intrusion. It was all volcanic-hosted mineralization. They never found a porphyry. And with porphyry systems, you get a porphyry at depth and an epithermal above it. So the model was that we were up high in the system. But then in 2018, previous operator went to the valley bottom about 500 meters down and found an outcropping porphyry system where they returned 347 meters of 0.39 gold and 0.33 copper. So those grades are in line with porphyries in the region, and there are higher grade portions of that. But that company didn't do the best job. They didn't raise money on the backs of good results. They waited until later in the year, and they just really didn't come back here and test it fully. So over the last 2 years, we've done a lot of work refining our targets, IP surveys, mapping, everything you could think of. A lot of discussions, a lot of arguments because we are geologists. And we believe they have just scratched the surface of the Williams porphyry, but there's also lookalike targets just within that polygon alone. But then IP work we did and mapping highlighted 2 other lookalike anomalies directly underneath the epithermal system that are yet to be tested. So this is what the IP anomalies look like. IP just basically shows you increased sulfides, and you should get a big sulfide signature with a porphyry copper system, and then hopefully within that you'll get copper. So the first part of this program, we're going to start at Williams, and we're going to drill into the known system but go deeper. So I'm hopeful we'll see grades similar to what they've already hit, but hopefully go quite a bit further. So we're hoping to drill up to about 900 meters depth there, but starting in mineralization. And then it will be about 500-meter holes to test these other 2 targets where we will drill through the epithermal system and then hopefully get into a porphyry system. This is what it looks like in 3D. So you've got a huge metal system here, a ton of gold kicking around, and you have proof of concept that porphyry deposits sit underneath the epithermal systems within a reasonable depth that a small junior like us can actually test. So in terms of time frame for the season, we're going to be starting airborne survey any day now. Drilling should hopefully start by June 15th, so about a month away. We'll be doing a lot of other regional work across the project to continue to refine the pipeline of targets. You always want an insurance policy as a junior. And then we expect to have results out no later than Beaver Creek Conference, hopefully before then. So I touched on the team briefly, but to do this, we need a really good team. And we've got Tyler from Northwest Copper. He worked throughout the Andes with MMG, worked at the Las Bambas mine, spent 7 years running Northwest Copper in BC. He made some great discoveries there. He drilled, I think, 10 meters of 33% copper and about 100 meters of 3% copper equivalent. Gail's a bit of a Golden Triangle legend. She's published in Economic Geology, the #1 publication for exploration geoscience. She did her master's degree at the Mineral Deposit Research Unit at UBC on the KSM project. She's also consulted to Galore Creek, trying to make sense of it for them. And then on the advisory side, Ashwath Mehra, he's writing the lead order into our current financing. He's a Glencore founder, currently the lead director of Collective Mining, doesn't put his name on many things. But the key is he built and sold GT Gold to Newmont, and they had a very similar setup. They had a soil anomaly, which we already have. They made a high-grade gold discovery, which we already have. They went to the valley bottom, did IP, and made a porphyry discovery. The difference is they had big drills. We had, or the previous operators had small drills. And really, this is a 4-year time frame here, from about a $20 million market cap to a nearly $460 million takeout. But the porphyry part of that, that's almost 3 years. So pretty quick turnaround. Majors want these deposits. South 32 just put over $30 million into American Eagle. Agnico Eagle invested in Atex. Newmont's in the Golden Triangle, Barrick's in Hercules. So, the gold miners want these deposits. The copper miners want these deposits. I'll touch on a few other people here. Charlie Gregg's been involved while GT was around, actually. Charlie was helping us out. Paul Gruner, we've got the geology and the technical team and all that, but you also need the social license. And Paul was formerly the CEO of the Tahltan Nation Development Corporation. We're entirely within Tahltan territory, and under Paul's leadership, they became the largest indigenous business in BC. So good connections there. And last but not least, I'll point out Stephanie because she's a pretty good weapon for us. She taught the porphyry course at PDAC this year and formerly worked in First Quantum's generative porphyry group. I think that's everything. Or I guess I should touch on the cap table. Yeah, 59 million shares outstanding going into this raise. So I think we're trading quite a bit above the financing price. Around $1 million in the bank, currently raising at 25 cents, and that's going very well. This is being recorded, so I can only say so much. Biggest shareholders, Alex Gubbins, a large Peruvian mining family, Ashwath Mehra, Larry Childress as well, and then a number of resource funds in the deal as well. Do we have time for questions?
Are there any questions? I have one question, Dustin. Raising 7 million, but a relatively short exploration season. What would you ideally like to achieve in a short season with like a good amount of money?
How many meters?
Yeah.
We're hoping to drill at least 7,500 meters.
Okay.
And then a lot of regional exploration. So Charlie Gregg's son, Roy Gregg, between him, he's a University of Arizona PhD in porphyries. Right. Between him and Stephanie and a team they're putting together, we'll have 150 man days of mapping, at least 1,000 soils, lots of IP and an airborne EM survey. So lots of other work happening while we're drilling. But we're going to test all 3 of those targets. So obviously I want to make 3 discoveries. I think 1 would be amazing.